Hello and welcome. I'm Angela Meiritz-Reid of Stamping Beauty in Christchurch, New Zealand. Today I wanted to share with you how I created this card. It was for the Stamping Fancy Friday design team, and we were showcasing cards created using spots or stripes. This beautiful paper from the Countryside Inn has both, so it was win-win. So to get started, I'm going to do the watercolouring first so that there's time for it to dry. So I'll just bring in some scrap paper, and I've got some fluid 100 cardstock, and I'm using the Moody Mauve colour, which is one of the new in colours, and I've got a water painter. So what I'm going to do is I want to add colour to this paper. So I'm just going to get it quite damp to start with, just add some slightly tinted water. Just grabs a little bit less when you do that. Just gets it flowing a little bit. Then I just want to add some colour. So I'm just going to pull a little bit off here. Just add it. If you squeeze the brush too, it will add a little bit water to make it flow a little bit more. It doesn't have to be too perfect, because it will, when you're cutting, this is a die here, you'll get all sorts of bits and pieces coming through areas where it's dark and light. I'll add a little bit more colour. Sort of splodge that around randomly. You can dry that with your heat tool, or just leave it to dry on its own. Just depends how much colour you want to add, how you want, whether you want it to be dark or light. So sometimes less is more. You've got to walk away before you get too carried away. So I'll just set that up there to dry, and then I'm going to do some leaves. So I've just got this smaller piece, and this is the leaf die here, so just enough to do those two there. I have got the ink refill here, so I'm just going to use that. I'll just pop some on a block. And then I'll do the same thing and just add some water. Just, it's quite wet. Just add some darker pieces in there. Hopefully it won't wash out too much. If you want more variegated look, add some more. Right, so pop that out of the way, and then it's a matter of creating everything else. So I've just got a basic white card base, and I'm using the thick cardstock because that works well when you've got quite a lot on the front, because it's quite heavy. And then the next layer, which is just slightly smaller, about 1/2 centimetre, I'm going to pop that, emboss that with the Time Worn Type 3D embossing folder. So I'll just pop that in there, and I'll just get my bring that in here, and take these. I don't need all of these, just need for the 3D embossing folder, just this one, number 4, and run that through. So the reason I've done that whole piece there is I'm going to attach the DSP onto that, and then just gives me a firm base to work on when I wrap the twine around it. and then layer it up. I'm just going to adhere that on there. Just line that up along the bottom and the sides. And then just got the basic white twine. So I want to leave enough to do the bow, and then I'm just going to wrap it around twice, just along the edge, and then I'll just cut that down there. And tie just a single bow. It's quite good to give it a firm tug just so it stays in place. And once I pop the flowers on and things, I can just try and manipulate that to stay where I want it. It does have a mind of its own. So they look about the right length. I'll just trim just a little bit off each end. And then that, I may as well pop that straight onto the card front. I'm just going to turn that over and then add some dimensionals to the back. I always like to add enough so that it doesn't sag. As well add, while I'm here, add a few more. Just add a couple of, just got some half ones in there. Take all those off. And a wee trick, if you're worried about getting this onto the card front, and you know, with dimensionals, once they're stuck, you can just add a little bit of glue to the backs of those, just to give a little bit of slip. So you're still getting the dimension, but you're getting a bit of slip with them. And if you turn that over and pop that onto here, then if you don't get it quite in the right place, you can sort of jiggle it around a bit. And then you just need to give it a few moments just to dry. And actually another wee thing you can do with this, if you know where it's going to go, just work out where that's going to sit, and just pop the tiniest little spot of glue, and then just sit that on there just for a few moments. So it doesn't look too staged, but just enough to hold it there so it won't jiggle around. One I'm not too worried about, that seems to be doing what it's supposed to do. So that is that done. So I'll just pop those to one side for a minute. Now we want 3 of these stamens here. I've already got one done. I'll just bring that in here and just die cut that one. So it's just on basic white cardstock, just to tie in with that cardstock there. They're ready to go. So just bring in these to see how they're going. Not quite dry. Not too far off. So I just grab my heat tool and just give them a little bit of a a burst of heat. It's enough just to help that along. So I'll bring my die cutting machine back in. Just my little mini one will work for this. So I just want to do the leaves. And the Fluid 100 is a little bit thicker than normal cardstock, so I too tend to go through a couple of times just to get a good clean cut. Just move it around to where you like the look of what where your colour is on your cardstock. So I like how that's given that sort of variegated look on those few leaves there. And then this one here, that on there, and I'll do the same thing. This isn't quite as intricate, so it's not, should die cut reasonably easily. And what I tend to do, because I will have some left over, I keep a little envelope and I just tuck in any extras that I've got, and it's always fun to have a look through, and sometimes you can create a whole project with bits and pieces you have left over. Back again. So I love the way it's got the watermark on it and just the different shades on there. So this is has turned out to be slightly darker than this one, so it's still pretty. But love how you can, just every time you create something like this, you get a different look. And then it's a matter of putting them together. So what I've done one with, it's got the two big pieces on, one that's got the two small pieces on, and it's fun playing around, and then one that's got a bigger piece and a smaller piece. So I've sort of tried to make them slightly different, look different sizes. So just a bit of glue in the middle will work. Oh yes, I do. I'll put the top piece on as well while I'm there. So it just sits right over there in those gaps. Thing with these flowers, you can do anything really. Lots of different ways to pop them together and different elements to use. And then that one can just stick on there. Just in the middle. This one on here. And this one here. So super, not, you know, super quick and easy really. Didn't take too long to put together. And while they're drying, I'll just bring in, I'll pop these on. These are the iridescent pastel gems. And they come in the 3 colours, which are Calypso Coral, Balmy Blue and the Gold. It's sort of, you can see that sort of a whitey gold look. So I'm just going to pop those, the larger ones in the middle of there. I like the way these sort of catch the light and take on the colour around them. So let's move slightly. And then it's just a matter of popping it onto here. So I want to get dimensionals on the back of these 3. So just gently turn them over just in case they're not quite dry. Tuck a dimensional just in the middle because I want them to look like they've got a bit of movement, and then I can tuck these underneath. So this is the large one here. Just going, and I'll just pop these up just a little bit. Could curl them a bit with your bone folder if you wanted more of a curl. I'm just going to tuck that right there. Then this one here, which has got the 2 sizes, the same thing, just bend those up a little bit. Tuck that in just about there, just so there's a bit of overlap. And then lastly this little one. Tuck that in just into there. And I want to pop these leaves in, so I'm just going to, that's going to stick up there. So it's got a bit of scrap paper and just put a bit of glue on it. Stick that in. And tuck that in to there until I get the look and how far I want it to come down. This one's going that way a bit, so I might just tuck under a little half of dimensional just to pop it up here. Might even do a double piece actually, just pop 2 bits of dimensional on top. Yeah, sync with that twine, it was interfering with it. And this one here, I want that one to sort of tuck in here. Check where that's going to go. So I'll just do the same thing. And then lastly, I've got just popped a couple of these extra small ones just down here, one just on here and one up here. And that is my card created. So it didn't really take too long, but you can see just the difference of look you can get just with the watercolouring. But I love watercolouring rather than using the cardstock because I love how you can get that variation of colour. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.